Back in the 90s and early 2000s, you probably remember that little green flashing light and the notification sound that made your heart race. Remember being a teenager late at night, chatting with a girl in what was arguably the world's first real social media? Yeah, I'm talking about MSN. Believe it or not, that single tudung sound had more power over our lives than any smartphone notification today. Do you remember staring at the screen, just waiting for that person's name to turn from gray to bright green? It was the most nerve-wracking feeling ever. The moment that green light turned on, your heart started pounding. You'd sit there trying to come up with the coolest hi. Or sometimes, you'd play the classic move, signing out and signing back in just so your name would pop up on her screen. It was the ultimate move. And the status messages? Pure drama. If things were good, you'd have those smiley emojis. But if she ghosted you or things went south, you'd go grab some emo song lyrics and put them right there in your status to let her know you were hurting. It was our first taste of a digital ego, long before Facebook or Instagram even existed. Go back to 1999. Back then, the internet was like the Wild West, and everyone was using AOL or ICQ. Then, Microsoft decided to drop a bomb called MSN Messenger. Believe it or not, at first it was nothing more than a stupid plain text box. But that right there was the start of a piece of software that was about to steal the sleep of an entire generation. Microsoft was smart, man. They shoved MSN down everyone's throats by bundling it with Windows and Hotmail. Think about it. Back then, everyone used Windows. And if you had a Hotmail account, you had MSN automatically. It was convenience mixed with total domination. It went from a boring chat box to a place where you could actually see who was online. And that's where the addiction started. What made MSN different back then was how it made the world feel smaller. Remember that little green flashing light in the bottom right corner of your screen? To a teenager in the 2000s, that light was a vital sign. When it turned green, the fun started. We weren't just talking about school or work, man. We were talking about nonsense, music, and crushes. MSN was the first place that made us feel connected 24/7. But the road wasn't easy. As MSN grew, rivals like AOL started getting pissed. There was a time when both companies fought a code war, trying to block each other's users from messaging. But you know what? That only made MSN look cooler. It felt like a secret weapon we used to communicate, without the adults understanding what was going on. From a plain-looking chat app, MSN started evolving fast. It introduced emoticons, the first real emojis that made chatting way more fun. But this was just the beginning of its glory days. Once MSN went global, it wasn't just about simple texting anymore. It was the birth of mental warfare. Believe it or not, Microsoft didn't just build a chat app. They created a massive social experiment. And the most notorious feature that everyone remembers was the nudge. Remember that? You're busy or intentionally ghosting someone and suddenly, bam! Your entire screen shakes with a loud buzz. That was the nudge. It was the most aggressive way to demand someone's attention in digital history. But somehow we loved it. It was the ultimate tool for getting an answer or just straight up annoying your friends. Then there was the personal message and the now playing feature. Back then, we didn't use status updates to tell the truth. We used them to be passive-aggressive. We'd put emo lyrics from our Winamp player just to let our crush know we were hurting. MSN was the first place we learned how to seek attention online, long before the like button even existed. And the ultimate move? Appear offline. We've all done it. You sit there invisible, just waiting for that one specific person to log on. The second they do, you switch back to online so your name pops up on their screen with that tudung sound. It was like saying, "Hey, I just got here. Talk to me." It was high-level teenage psychological warfare, and it was glorious. Once MSN became the king, instead of keeping it simple, believe it or not, Microsoft did the exact opposite. They started shoving everything into that clean chat window until it turned into digital junk. And this was the exact moment MSN started losing its cool factor. Remember that? Suddenly, MSN was filled with random games, winks, those annoying full-screen animations, and banners popping up everywhere. And don't get me started on the custom emoticons. People used them so much you couldn't even read their display names anymore. The result? The app became bloated. It went from lightning fast to crashing your entire PC. If you didn't have a high-end setup, Microsoft's goal was clear. They didn't just want you to chat. They wanted you to live inside MSN. They tried to link it to all their other services, horoscopes, news, and even shopping. What used to be a private space for teenagers was being invaded by corporate greed. Users started feeling like, I just want to talk to my friends. Why is this so complicated? The more features they added, the more bugs appeared. MSN started having major stability issues. Messages wouldn't send, or the app would just crash for no reason. While new rivals were watching and preparing something cleaner, faster, and simpler, Microsoft was still clueless. They thought they were untouchable. While Microsoft thought people would be chatting on MSN forever, believe it or not, a new wave called High Five hit them like a freight train. It wasn't just another chat app. It was a whole new world where everyone had a face. This was the moment people realized that waiting for a green light on MSN just wasn't enough anymore. What High Five did better than MSN was creating a digital identity. On MSN, you just had a name and a tiny avatar. But on High Five, you had an entire page to show off your photos and flashy skins. And the most toxic part? The top friends list. It forced people to log in every day to check their status and rankings. This strategy kept users on the web rather than in a chat window. And Microsoft completely missed that shift. High Five taught the world about profile views and comments. Communication shifted from private, one-on-one chats to a one-to-many broadcast. People wanted to show the world their lives, not just nudge a friend. The more time people spent customizing their High Five profiles, the less time they spent chatting on MSN. The attention was moving away, and MSN had no answer for it. Microsoft's mistake was thinking MSN was the endgame of communication. They failed to build a real social space to compete. Once people got addicted to scrolling through profiles on High Five or MySpace, MSN became just a side tool. It was reduced to a place where you just asked for someone's email to add them on a real social network. The king was being demoted to a middleman. After High Five stole the spotlight, believe it or not, Microsoft was still fast asleep. They thought, hey, people will always come back to their PCs to chat. But then 2007-2008 happened. Mark Zuckerberg turned Facebook into everyone's second home, and Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone just to tell the world, who sits at a desk to chat anymore? In business terms, Facebook was MSN's worst nightmare. It combined chat, photos, and that fake sense of pride from likes into one clean package. Microsoft tried to fight back by adding more features, but it was like bringing a knife to a gunfight. While Facebook was cool and sleek, MSN looked like a grandpa trying to wear skinny jeans to fit in. It was bloated, it was slow, and it was just plain cringe. Microsoft's biggest blunder was missing the mobile revolution. They were so obsessed with Windows on PC that they forgot the world was moving to the palm of their hands. While apps like WhatsApp were making chat always on, MSN still required you to actually sign in on a computer. In business, if you can't keep up with human behavior, you're just a dinosaur looking at an asteroid thinking, oh, just a big ice cube falling. They tried to save it by rebranding to Windows Live Messenger, but it was a total train wreck. Users felt the app was way too heavy. You wanted to send one simple message, but you had to load ads and a bunch of useless plugins first. In a business where speed is everything, MSN was a truck out of gas in the middle of an intersection, while everyone else sped past in sports cars. 2013, Microsoft finally waved the white flag. They announced the official shutdown of MSN after years of struggling. Believe it or not, their final strategy was to force hundreds of millions of users to migrate to Skype. But this was a massive business blunder. In the corporate world, you can't force users to love what you choose for them. Microsoft thought that simply moving the database was enough. But they ignored one thing. Skype was built for business calls and video conferencing. It lacked the charm and the features people loved in MSN. The mind games and the nudges were gone. The result? Users didn't migrate. They abandoned their 10-year-old MSN accounts and moved to Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, which fit the smartphone era much better. The expensive lesson Microsoft left behind is simple. Dominating the PC doesn't mean you'll dominate the user's heart forever. They died because of slow innovation and an obsession with their old business model. While the world was moving at lightning speed, Microsoft was busy protecting a desktop chat window until it became a fossil that the new generation didn't even recognize. October 31st, 2014, was the final day MSN operated in China, the last place on Earth. The last green light went dark quietly. No grand farewell, just a notification sound that stopped forever. It left behind only memories for the 90s and 2000s generation who once stayed up all night just to talk to someone through a computer screen. MSN is long gone from our screens, but the lessons from its failure remain clear. Thanks for following this series. If you enjoyed this deep dive into tech history, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments which story you want me to cover next.